Hello, backyard vegetable gardeners. Hope you're having a great day. Welcome to the Backyard Vegetable Gardening channel, where we talk about growing more of our own food and sharing just a little bit of joy that's associated with living the gardener's lifestyle. Today is Wednesday, March the 7th, 2025. And in today's video, it's going to be a little different, guys. So I hope you came looking for a good time. We're not going to talk about growing nothing. We're not going to talk about installing nothing. Going to share a blessing with you, and I hope it's big a blessing to you as it was for me. You know, last year we were trying to find a bunch of specific plants to put on the property. We discovered that there was a number of dwarf variety fruit plants like blackberries and blueberries and raspberries, that sort of thing. And I wanted to put some all along the front of the property. It's where we spend a lot of time at in the warm months. Sit on the porch, let the youngins play in the front yard and on the porch. We come across these bushel and berry jobs this past year, and we got a number of them. But, you know, when we first seen them, I couldn't justify spending $40 for a individual plant because I wanted several. I wanted several here, and I wanted to give at least one to each set of the grand youngins to take home, because if you've got small children, or maybe your children are grown and you've got the experience of raising small children, you know that little phase of life there, things are busy and people don't have time to do a whole lot of stuff. And this channel is about encouraging folks to grow food and have fun while they're doing it, and thought it would be a tremendous blessing to send one of those plants home with the babies. That way their parents didn't have to really do a lot to keep it up, just make sure it was watered maybe once a week or something like that, and those little babies could enjoy some berries. Now, all of our grandbabies love being out in the garden, every single one of them. And all of them but one, they enjoy eating fresh from the garden. We've got one, I love her just as good as I love any of them, but I've nicknamed her MSG, that little baby. If it ain't a chicken nugget, she about turns her nose up at it. Now, she's doing a lot better. She really does try everything. I don't know if it's a texture thing, I don't know what it is, but the little youngin', she really does tickle me. She'll come out in the garden and she'll try to grab a strawberry, and she just ain't having it. But thankfully, she found out she liked watermelon, so that's a start. But guys, I found some of those plants this year. Back in January, the big box stores started stocking these bare root plants, and I thought it was worth the risk. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you up front, I've had my share of failures with these bare root plants bought from the big box stores. But nonetheless, we were looking, and the price was significantly less expensive. And if you haven't watched that video where I talked about all these, I'll just go ahead and show you some, or talk about them anyway. We bought some of these baby cake blackberries from the Bushel and Berry Company, little dwarf blackberries. They get about 3 foot high and 3 foot around, and they're made to be potted in a container. And if you know anything about blackberries, them things can grow pretty large. My son, he's done pruned his down to 6 feet, and they're starting to spread, but they'll easily get 7, 8, 9 feet tall. We found some raspberry shortcake raspberries, same deal, from the Bushel and Berry Company. Looking forward to them. And then we found these silver dollar blueberries. Now, we've got several varieties of full-size blueberries on the property, but this one was one that I thought would be just lovely up front. And we also bought some more full-size strawberry blueberries, the blue crop and the jerseys, just to kind of round out our blueberry patch. But there was a few things that I really, really wanted. Those little dwarf plants, that was more of a novelty, just something to be a blessing to the babies, really. But there were two in particular that I really wanted to have. One of them was a hardy kiwi plant. I love kiwi, but where I live, it never survived. Never heard of a hardy kiwi till last year. And by the time I learned about that plant, I went online and looked, and they was wanting $129 for a potted plant. I just couldn't do it. Well, this year we found one at Tractor Supply, and man alive, it made me happy. And I looked right on the shelf below it, and I found the one plant that I just absolutely had to have. It's the one I wanted more than any of the others, and that was a Nanking cherry. There's a little story behind it. I can't grow a cherry tree here. It's not because I don't have the space, and it's not because we don't have the time or the aptitude to do it. It's because we've got these little bitty bunnies. Now, I don't want bunnies in my garden, but there's just something precious about getting up in the morning, going on the front porch with a good cup of coffee, take my Bible with me, and just watch those little bitty bunnies as I'm out there drinking my coffee and thinking about what I read in the Bible. Don't want to kill the bunnies. And those cherry trees, maybe I just got the cart in front of the horse. Cherry trees, their leaves and their seeds and their bark are toxic to bunnies. So I've made the decision I'm not going to grow a traditional cherry tree. But these Nanking cherry bushes do not present that risk to the bunnies. And an added bonus, they're not a traditional tree. They're a deciduous shrub. They get about 6 or 9 foot around and 6 or 9 foot tall. And I was so very happy. So we bought one. And the thing about it was, when I pulled it out of the package, it didn't look too hot. It had 1 or 2 roots on it. And like I told you, I've had my share of failures associated with these cuttings that were bought from the big box stores. But nevertheless, I put it in a pot because it was several months before we could set that thing out. Probably could have set it outside when we bought it, but I didn't want to take the gamble. I figured I'd keep it inside, keep it good and safe, because a lot of these plants that we had bought at that particular time had started coming back to life. They had new growth on them, and I didn't want to put them outside and let the frost kill them. So anyway, that was back in February, and I've put that thing in the pot, and I watched it, and I watched it, and I watched it. And to be honest with you, I got a little concerned. I called up the supplier, which was DeGroot. Very nice people, very pleasant to deal with, and I just told them my concerns. And the person that I spoke with was very accommodating, and she said, "Don't worry about it. If it doesn't wake up, if it doesn't survive, we'll make it right." I said, "Okay." So anyway, I went online and I started looking, when in the world is this thing supposed to come back alive? Everything else, the grapes, I've already got little grapes forming up here. If you know anything about grapes, it'll be summer before I have grapes. And this little Nanking cherry just hadn't woke up yet. So I was about ready to call them back, but I decided I'd give it another week before I went to all the trouble. Sunday morning, I was getting ready to leave for church, and I was walking from the house to the office where I've got all my seedlings at, and I happened to walk by that Nanking cherry. And wouldn't you know it, the thing finally woke up. But I'm just going to tell you, I about cut a cart flip. And it wasn't just because the thing had came back to life. It broke its dormancy and got new growth. I'm a Bible believer, folks, and I don't know where you stand with God and your faith in God, but I believe there's a God, and His name is Jesus Christ, and I believe the Bible, and I read a lot of the Bible. I've been reading the Bible every day of my life for 27 years, and it never grows old. But anyway, there is a part in the Bible, it's a parable of the sower, and one of the parts is about a root. The plant sprung up, and because it didn't have no root, when the sun came up, it withered and died. And I started thinking about that root, that little bitty old root that came with this plant. It didn't look like it was nothing, but boy, was there life in the root. And I started thinking about just how important those roots are. As a gardener, we have to worry about root conditions. We want a healthy root system, especially in these perennials. They've got to have a healthy root system. Something like an asparagus, if you grow that from seed, it'll be 2 or 3 years before those roots are going to be strong enough and to support you harvesting from that plant. But this little Nanking cherry tree about made me cut a cart flip. I'm sitting there thinking about that root, and I'm starting to think about all the things in life. You got to be rooted in life. And if you're going to grow a garden, you've got to be rooted in that too. But it's all about family. It's about faith. It's about your job. It's about raising your children. It's about being a good citizen. You got to put some roots down. I started thinking about all these folks. They're just hopping and hopping and hopping. They never put no roots down. And it's a sad thing. And You know, not to stretch out this video, this is not going to be a long video, folks. I just want to share with you that little bitty old root right there. Even though I didn't think it was nothing, even though I thought it was worthless, there was still a lot of life in that root. And now it's got vegetation growing. There's proof of that life. And there's a lot of things that can bother us in life. And if we're not rooted when the problems come, when that sun comes out and it starts hitting you, if you ain't got good roots, you ain't gonna make it. And that's whether it's trying to raise your garden. You know, we're busy folks. We all have to work jobs and we got family. And if you're like me, you're active in your church, there's always something to do. And then raising the garden, it just takes a lot out of you. For me, I have to get up. Well, I get up early anyway. I get up at 5:30 every morning. I don't need an alarm clock. That's just the way I'm wired. And get up and we read our Bible, and then I get busy doing stuff. And this time of year, I'm always out in the garden. I'm either watering something, weeding something, feeding something, or taking care of a groundhog and all kinds of things like that. And you got to be rooted. You've got to have something that holds you accountable to doing what needs doing. And say it's your marriage. You know, a lot of folks in these days, they don't really have no idea about what it takes to be married and to be happily married and raising kids. And you got all these problems, but as long as there's a root, there's a good chance you're going to make it. And guys, that's all I really wanted to share with you today. I want to let you know how important it is to be rooted. And sometimes that root don't look like it's a whole lot. You know, you might have a problem in your life and you might think that things look pretty rough and they're going to get pretty dark and you might not make it. But as long as there's good roots, it'll happen. It'll come back. Things will be good. So guys, that's really all I want to share with you today. I certainly do appreciate each and every one of you. You know, we're almost to 700 subscribers. Honestly, when I started the channel, I just thought we was going to help some local folks around here, some folks that I know and love and care about very dearly, who I don't have the time to go to their garden every other week or something like that and help them. I just thought I'd be a blessing to folks. And, you know, the simple fact that with so many folks reach out to us and talk to us, and I know it ain't because I'm the greatest gardener, and I know it's not because I'm a very appealing personality. I think what it is just real life gardening. You know, we was going to put out a video this week about all the things we've done, the garden tour and all that stuff. And I might do that next week. We've done filmed it. I haven't edited nothing like that. But, you know, the truth of the matter is, guys, no matter where you're at, no matter who you are, I want you to succeed. I want you to succeed in your garden just as much as I want you to succeed at life itself, with your marriage, with your kids, with your job. And I hope to encourage you to make sure you're rooted. Don't hop around. Make sure whatever you get involved in is worth getting involved in so you can plant those roots and stick with it. A lot of what's on the internet these days is just trends. And guys, I'm just going to tell you, I've lived long enough I've seen a lot of trends come and go. And I'm glad I stuck with the old ways. You know, that's one of the things the Bible talks about, the old paths, and walk therein. And that's all I really want to do, guys. So guys, I love you. I certainly do appreciate you being with us. And if you like gardening, garden-related content, I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel. If you learned something today, or if I was just a blessing to you, I sure hope you'll hit that like button, guys, and share it with your friends. Till we see you again, hope you're having a great day.